I would like to welcome you all to our webinar today, preparing to get into medical school. Before we begin, my name is Belle and I would be your moderator today. And also let me give a brief introduction about APA and what we do. We're actually, a leading education consultancy here in Thailand with a team of experienced mentors, that strive for the same goal of guiding our students through the process of intellectual exploration. And those interested in boarding schools in the UK, what we value the most is helping you learn about the resources offered at each school to eventually find the best fit school for you. If you have any questions or may need any support, please feel free to shoot us an email with questions or drop them in the chat box below. As for today's agenda, you'll be spending about, 40 minutes, hearing about how to get into top medical schools, and we'll open up, the floor for any questions from any families. And I'm honored to be introducing Tony, the Director of International Recruitment at Cardiff Sixth Form College, who has been working really hard to ensure that students from all over the world and, from all backgrounds get to experience what Cardiff has to offer. So I know you guys are excited to learn about medical school and also Cardiff. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Tony. Over to you, Tony.
Sawasdee krap. Thank you very much, Belle. And lovely to be with all the Thai people today. As you mentioned, my name is Tony Blifford. I'm the Regional Admissions Director for Cardiff, Sixth Form College here in Asia. And of course, here to assist and help all of the various students going to Cardiff, going to medical school, and help you to get into medical school itself. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen and tell you about our wonderful operation and how we can help you and how we can assist you, not only with going to Cardiff or going to one of our colleges for medicine, but also summer camps that we have done, bespoke summer camps for medical students, engineering students, English courses, etc. But let me start. So we call it Cardiff the place to be. As Belle mentioned, I'm here in Asia. I look after the 9 different Asian countries, and Thailand being one of them. I love Thailand. I love the Thai people. Very polite, fantastic, friendly nation. We currently have 15 Thai students in our school in Cardiff, and we have 10 Thai scholarship students from your government, your Thai government, in our Rochester school. So we are very familiar with the Thai students, and we really love to have more if we can. Okay, so first of all, just for you, those of you who are not familiar where we are, there is the map of the UK. Cardiff is in Wales, and Cardiff is the capital of Wales. But then we have many, many other schools in and around London. We are part of the Duke's Education Group, so this is our family. We have many, many, many schools, as you can see. Nursery schools, preparatory schools, senior schools, sixth form colleges. They are the yellow and blue ones here. There's 6 different colleges that we can help the students with, and then spread all over, as you can see here. So definitely, there's an opportunity. We can help you if there's anything that you require, or you need to get into medical school or engineering school. We certainly can do. We have been the #1 school, so it's an elite school at Cardiff for almost 10 years. By 1 year, there have been no league tables these last 2 years, so it's very difficult. But if you look at the actual results, there they are. 2021, we had 100% A star to B and 98% A star to A. So you can see from these results, if there had been league tables, we would have been the #1 school once again. So these are the programs that we do at our college. We start with a 2-year GCSE program, a 1-year GCSE course, and the 2-year A-level course. Lots of schools leave it to the very last or the late A-level period of the students to then try and apply and get into a medical school or things like that. We start in our 2-year GCSE year already, year 10, because we believe that's where the foundation starts in terms of your student to try and prepare them and get them ready to get into medical school. Getting into medical school is extremely difficult. Believe me, we've been doing this for the last 10, 11 years. We know what it's about. We've had experience in this. To try and do this on your own is virtually impossible. That's why you've done the right thing by coming to Edie Smith or APA and Bell and the team. We've been working very closely with them. They're a very professional group, and they will definitely help you in terms of what you require. So to give you an idea, these are the top 10 universities in the UK. If you have a degree from any one of these universities, you will have no problem getting a job worldwide. I don't have to tell you, it's been an extremely difficult time, not only here in Thailand, but everywhere in the world with this pandemic that we've had. You know, our young students, you guys who will be graduating in a couple of years, are going to find it a lot more difficult to get jobs, like when it was for me and Bal and the rest. It's going to be hard, but if you have a degree from one of these top 10 universities, it's going to make it a lot easier for you. You will be in front of the queue, on top of the pile, an obvious choice. And this is what we want to do. And this is what we do at Cardiff. Not only that, but also financially. This was a survey done by the BBC. It gives you an idea, and these were medical students. It gives you an idea that 4 or 5 years after they graduated, what their potential earnings were. And this was in pounds. You'll see this little green line is made up of little green dots. Those green dots represent non-Russell Group universities. And the pink dots are Russell Group. So Russell Group are Oxford, Cambridge, LSE, UCL, etc. Look at the difference in earnings, what you can earn versus non-Russell Group. So, you know, going forward, in many cases with many households, you may find the luxury of having 2 people having a job not there anymore. So it'll be one breadwinner. So you want to make sure that that person who is earning handsomely and can support a family. So this is very important why it is then to get into top university. Getting into medical school, extremely difficult. To try and do it on your own, it is an impossible task. You need help. You can see here, the second one from the top is the medicine one. This orange bar here represents the amount of applications that these Russell Group universities receive every year. And the blue bar, as you can see here, 10% is the amount of offers that are made. Very, very small. You're competing against the rest of the world. That's why you need a plan, and you need an A-game plan, and this is what we can help you with. Your journey into medicine is the following. You know, your year 8 onwards is your insight and development. You start thinking, I want to become a doctor one day, and, you know, looking at things and starting to read about it and find out a little bit more detail. Then when you get to year 12, that's where your UCAT examination starts. Year 12 and 13, your BMAT examination, which is very important. I'll come to that in a minute. And year 13 is your actual UCAS application. So we apply to 5 different universities for you online. It's 4 medical and 1 non-medical. We make use of the medical portal. We have doctors on the medical portal for our students who take part, and they get this expertise from our medical portal, which is a very, very professional operation within the Duke's Education Group. And then, of course, year 13, once you've done your final interviews, you then get into medical school. So those are the different steps. Now, choosing a medical school makes a big difference. You know, you have a selection of, as I mentioned, 4 medical schools. You can do Oxford or Cambridge, not both. And then a strategic application with UCAT and BMAT in terms of what is required. And 1 alternative course, a medicine or science related. So it's 4 medical, 1 non-medical. Avoid choosing more than 2 BMAT universities. And I'll show you which ones in a minute. What will universities be looking for? Well, first of all, they're going to be looking for these 6 things. We call them the stages of success. So first of all, your academic. Right, so there we go. They will look at your potential in terms of your past and present and future academic, which school you went to, etc. Secondly, they will look at your English language proficiency. If you want to study at a UK university or American university, you're going to have a very good English. Thirdly is your super curriculum development. Now, this is what you're going to get at Cardiff. This is what we will give you, your development in terms of super curriculum. And fourthly is a wider skill development. You know, no university wants a student that is a couch potato. They want students that are well-balanced. Well-balanced students are students who play sport, have hobbies, do well in their academics, and also have done some volunteer work, etc. So we're going to give you that all-rounding in your university application, etc. Applications for the UK medicine needs to be in mid-September to mid-January, but if you're doing medicine, they want it by the 15th of October. So you can see there are certain deadlines. If you don't hand it in by the 15th of October, believe me, you will not go to medical school. They are very strict. So we will help you with this whole process. We've helped many, many students, 541 over these last couple of years, 5 years or so. And lots of them into these QS top world 100 universities, as I showed you, in the UK, USA, Australia, and even Asia. To give you an example, over the last 5 years, we have done 70% of our students have gone to Russell Group universities. And you can see here, 80 odd students have gone to Oxbridge. The amount of doctors that we've created is 221 young doctors for medicine, dentistry, and veterinary science. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to compare us against the top 3 schools, boarding schools in the UK, together have not done that as 3 schools. We've done this as 1 school, what they've done 3 together. So we know what we're doing. We've done this before. We've helped many students to get into medical school, and we've done it very successfully. We have 2 campuses. This is the University of Cambridge. We now have a campus in Cambridge as well. So we have Wales and Cambridge. And the lovely thing about the Cambridge campus is that the students go and sit in a university class while and they specialize in our campus in Cambridge with medicine, STEP, and the sciences. So while the teacher is teaching in a class in the Cambridge University, you have the privilege and opportunity to go and sit in a class and see what it's like, feel what it's like. So I mentioned we have UK universities, but also lots of American universities. European, the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland is a very, very sought after university for students for medicine. And then of course, Asia, you know, Asia is a lovely continent and many, many students want to come back here, including students for your university here, King Mahinal or Mungat. I had a student the year before last. Both of her parents are in Thailand here. They're very, very successful doctors. She had an offer, 2 offers, one from King's and one from UCL. And she turned them down to come back to a university here in Thailand because you have some really good ones here as well. So it's not only the UK, it's everywhere else also. Where you want to go, we'll help you. Now, there are different medical rankings in the UK. I've showed you the top 10 earlier on. These are the top 10 medical rankings in the UK. So Dundee is the #1 university in the UK for medicine. Of course, Cambridge and Oxford will always be in the mix, as you can see, but there are some really interesting ones: Edinburgh, Glasgow, St Andrews. These are all in Scotland. The lovely place to go and study also being Scotland. There are 31 different medical schools in the UK, and there they are. We have worked with them for many years. We know them very well. They know us well. They know how we prepare our students for medicine, and that's why we've been very successful. You can see that a lot of them specialize in certain areas. You know, for instance, Bristol is very good for dentistry. And also they do a dentistry in Glasgow. Now, you know, Bristol being a very modern type university, and they have to be, you know, dentists are using the latest technology and equipment these days, so you have to be very up to date and very advanced. So there are different teaching styles. for universities, believe it or not. You know, where you currently are, I'm sure at your existing school, you are probably used to the teaching style there, and you're relaxed with the whole teaching style. So there are different teaching styles, the traditional, problem-based learning, or integrated. To give you some idea, these are some examples. So Cambridge and Oxford are very, very traditional type of teaching styles, the old school way of teaching. I know in lots of the universities in Thailand, or schools in Thailand, boarding schools, it's still a very traditional way of teaching. So if you're used to that traditional way of teaching, you'll be comfortable in these universities. Then Bristol and Imperial, as I mentioned, very integrated, very modern type university. So, and the reason for that is because Bristol, they do dentistry, Imperial, they do engineering. And both of those fields are very advanced technology-wise. So you have to be. The PBL, or problem-based learning, is that's Glasgow and Manchester. This is where they allow students to think outside the box, to come up with solutions for and ideas for problems. CBL, or case-based learning, these are universities like Cardiff and Liverpool for medicine, where they look at an actual case. So you learn from an actual case. They take a patient's file, maybe had a heart attack or whatever, and they work through the whole process. For engineering students, they will take a blueprint of a bridge. So it's a case-based learning university. Very, very interesting. Okay, so getting into these top universities, as I mentioned, is extremely difficult. To give you an example, this past year, 2021, the minimum requirements for students to get into these universities were as follows. Oxford was an A star and 2 A's, Cambridge 2 A stars and an A, Glasgow 3 A's. You can see all of them 3 A's. So you have to come with your A game if you want to get into these universities. And this is what we help you with at Cardiff. The other thing is academic excellence. We help our students with the following: medicine mentoring. You will have your own career advisor or mentor will help you probe into the areas of research within the field of medicine that you want to go and explore one day, because medicine is vast. You know, it's not a medical doctor only. There's oncology, surgeons, gynecology, you have pediatrician, you have so many fields, and you need to be comfortable in terms of what you want to do and make sure that that field is in the university that you're going to be going. So it's a huge thing. It's not just, I want to be a doctor. There's a lot of work that goes into it. They'll also help you with research into the NHS, because remember, with the new laws in the UK, you will have the luxury of staying on for 2 years and doing some either internship or work in the UK for those 2 years. So it's changed now. You have that opportunity as well. Then we have UCAT and BMAT masterclasses. You know, these days, high UCAT and BMAT scores are essential for you to be successful with your medical application. They're getting very picky, and you have to do well. That's why we put a lot of emphasis in our UCAT and BMAT preparation for our students. They are really the gateway for you reaching your interview stage. And this is very, very important. So UCAT and BMAT masterclasses, your personal statement perfection. You know, that little document, your personal statement document is the only piece of paper that university panel or people who do the interview have of you. They've never met you. They don't know what you look like. They don't know who you are or where you come from. We must make sure that in that interview, in that personal statement, we can put everything in there that they want to see. Many, many, many students have not made it to an interview, or they didn't get an offer because they did badly in their interview, or they did badly in their entrance exams, or they had a bad personal statement. We want to make sure that those 3 things are perfect. You have only one chance. You can't say, well, I didn't do well. Can I come back Monday? There is no Monday. There's another 20,000 people that want to come in. And believe me, it's very, very competitive. So we want to make sure that's perfect. And then your strategic university selection. I've just explained to you previously now why it was so important, why it is important, and your interview preparation. We will role play, we'll videotape you, we will make sure that that is perfect. Okay, so how will we do this? How will we do it from? Well, depends on what course you do. You can start from your 2-year GCSE program with us, or you can do a 1-year GCSE program. These are all September intakes, or the popular one is the 2-year A-level course. So those are the 3 options that you have with us at Cardiff. I'm not sure, I'll just talk about this very briefly. That's the UK educational or curriculum system. For those who are not aware or not used to it, you start your education in the UK, kindergarten reception, that's when you're about 4 or 5 years old. Then it's your first year at 5 or 6 years old. Then you go through right up to year 5, then year 10, year 6 when you're 10 or 11 years old. You do your SATs. That's your primary education. Then you do your secondary education, and that's from year 7 on, when you're about 11 years old, right up to year 10, sometimes you're 11, you'll be about 14, 15, sometimes 16. You do your GCSEs or your secondary education, senior school. Then you go on to your further education or your 6th form. That's from year 12 to year 13, when you're normally 16 up to 18 years old. And then into higher education, your university undergraduate degree, and then your master's, etc. So that's how it works. The terms, the school term dates in Britain, just to give you an idea, and in the UK, term 1 normally starts the 2nd of September. That's what's going to be starting now with our students. That goes through to the 15th of December. Then you have the Christmas holiday. Second term is in spring. It starts the 5th of January to the 23rd of March. There's the Easter holiday. And the final term is the summer term, term 3, 18th of April to the 7th of July. So what will you receive that's so special when you come to Cardiff? Of course, you're going to receive a 21st century curriculum. Lots of career knowledge. As I mentioned to you, it's going to be important for you to understand your future career, exactly what it's about. So career knowledge is of paramount importance. Secondly, we have 8 different tutor-led societies. There is a medical society, engineering, law, etc. But for medical students, you will be in the medical society. These are run by teachers. You'll be surrounded by other students like you who want to become doctors, dentists, or veterinary surgeons, or something in the medical field. So you have students who have the same type of like that you, therefore you go on hands-on workshops, curriculum-based trips, you get to know each other very well, and it's really a fun time. But the bottom section here, the blue part, is how we do it and why we have been so successful versus other schools. Lots of extended learning modules, like critical thinking. You know, a young doctor has to be able to think on their feet. There's no little book that you can page through. When somebody's dying in front of you, you can't page through a book and say, oh, what do I do now? You need to know what to do. Otherwise, they will die. It's very important. EPQ, extended project qualification. Universities are getting more and more keen on this, because this is what helps them to know that you understand you want to be a doctor one day. EPQ is when you go and do some research in our school library or the town library about your future career. Now, it'll be something in the medical field, either oncology, pediatrician, neurosurgery, plastic surgery, whatever you think is going to be your field, you will do research. When you're finished, you will do a 2,000 or 4,000 word paper. That will be graded by our teachers and professors, and you will actually get an A-level grade. So you see already you can have a very easy A or A star before you've even started. And this makes a lot of difference, believe me. Then the process, the UCAS application, we apply to 5 different universities for you. We help you with the interview. We're going to role play, we're going to videotape you, make sure it is perfect. And your personal statement will help you with that. I mentioned your entrance exams. So BMAT and UCAT, the biometrical admissions test, this is normally done for students who are specialized in veterinary. And then UCAT is the more popular one, where they are for dentistry and doctors. So depends on what you're going to be studying. That's where we will be able to concentrate and prepare you for. Secondly, we will help you with internship. the very, very first thing these top universities will ask you, they'll say, you want to be a doctor? What experience do you have? We are going to give you 10 days of work observation. In the UK, as a student, you're not allowed to work by law because you're still underage, but you can observe. So what you do, we send you to the local hospital in Cardiff, it's the Prince George, you put on the white coat, a stethoscope, and you will shadow a real doctor around. You'll talk to patients, you'll be in the emergency room. You will look like a doctor and you'll feel like one. You'll feel like a doctor for 10 days. Valuable experience. We do this with all of our students, but that's not all. You get lots of other things, effective communication skills. You know, for doctors and medical people one day, your communication with your theater staff, your nursing staff is vital. You have to be very precise, otherwise people can die. Then secondly, leadership and entrepreneurship. Many times you'll end up with your own clinic or your own dental practice or part of a hospital group. You need to know how a hospital works. So we're going to teach you all about that. Mindfulness, physical well-being, and public speaking, all good things. Okay, so I mentioned the UCAT, just to give you an idea. These are some of the universities for undergraduate, graduate, and then dentistry, where they use the UCAT. You can see Aberdeen, Dundee, the top one, Edinburgh, Exeter, all of those ones use UCAT. For dentistry, again, you can see Cardiff, Bristol, a whole lot of universities where they do the UCAT examination. What they will look for in terms of skills with you, certain key skills, like communication skills, leadership skills. You know, if you've been a class monitor or a prefect, empathy, you've worked with the elderly, you've helped at dog shelters or things like that. Teamwork, you've been part of a house group or you've been part of a sports team. Organization, depends on which school you were with, or if you joined things like organizations at your school, student bodies, etc. Prioritization, can you work under pressure? You know, a doctor has lots of pressure every day. So can you work under pressure? And this is a big thing. Know when to ask for help. Not everybody knows everybody, including me and Belle and everybody. We don't know everything. We know when we have to ask for help. And there are many people that can help. Then examples. For instance, the Duke of Edinburgh. We have that at Cardiff. Young enterprise schemes, proud achievements, positions of responsibility. Have you ever been a prefect or a class monitor that shows leadership skills? Have you done any first aid courses, St. John's, or there are some in Thailand here that you can do? Which prizes and awards have you won? Any Duke of Edinburgh? Have you won any math Olympiads? Any other extracurricular activities? These are all things that they want to see. Interviews, you will all have to have an interview, and there are different interview styles. MMI is multiple type of interviews where they have different 4 or 5 people doing little interviews as you go along, and you can see the little blue dots. Sorry, it's a little bit small, but it gives you an idea which universities do the MMI type style interviews. The panel interview is when you talk to a panel of specialists, like there could be doctors and etc. on this panel, and they're very selected in terms of the very universities. As you can see, not too many of them do that. Now, at Cardiff, when you join us in terms of the accommodation, you will have the opportunity to be in one of 3 boarding houses. You will have house parents. You're going to need a guardian when you come to the UK, and the staff at Eddie Smith will help you with that. There's a nurse on site, particularly now with the pandemic. I think it's important for you, your parents, everybody to know that there is medical attention at all times. We have a very, very multicultural atmosphere at Cardiff, 44 different nationalities. As I mentioned very early in the discussion, about 15 Thai students. We have a group, a line group here in Thailand with the Thai moms. You know, the moms, the mothers of the students are very demanding in Thailand. They want to know all the information, and they're very smart. Lots of them are doctors, so they will phone me or text me very late at night or very early in terms of information. But it's lovely to have that because it shows that they care. They care about their children. They care about the future, which is lovely. All of the students have their own private room and bathroom. So nobody shares a room. You have your own room, your own bathroom. They have two types, which is the cluster room, the top one here, or the bottom one is a studio apartment. That's where you can share. Both students have their own room and bathroom en suite, but they share this little lounge area. You can see it's a little kitchen and a lounge area. So it's like a little flat. It's very nice accommodation, actually. I didn't have that when I was studying. And then there are the common room areas, very modern, very nice. The food is not, 3 times a day, 7 days a week. It's vegan, halal, vegetarian. But of course, it's not like your mother's food. Hopefully, mom's food is good. It's not like mom's food, but it's not bad. Boarding school food is actually not bad at all. They do cater for all of the different ethnic groups. And I know our chefs at Cardiff, they do many Thai dishes as well. Right, so we have lots of extracurriculum activities, things like the music glee club, a drama club for those students who do play a music instrument, and then super curriculum activities. We have this program, which is called the ICE program, or International Citizens Experience. That is where the students travel abroad. So for the last 2 years, they have not traveled because of the pandemic. But for the next year and year after intakes, we are starting to do this again. You can see this photograph here with the 4 students in their blue scrubs. Those were 4 Cardiff students. That particular day, they witnessed an open heart surgery. Now, again, ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you, any university, if they know you've seen that, they will want to take you in a heartbeat because they know you're ready for medicine. Secondly, these are the career societies I mentioned. That the medical and healthcare society are the popular ones where you will be when you are going to be doing medicine for us. Then lots of other clubs and competitions that you can do. There's the debate club, Cambridge Chemistry Challenge, the NUN, the Duke of Edinburgh, lots of things you can do, even the NASA space program, which is also very popular. We've won that 4 times as well, but those are other things you can do as medical students. Cardiff is a very safe city to study. You can see the school is in the center of town. We have the shopping center area where you can go to. Lots of, there's also the Millennium Stadium, lots of castles. There are 330 different parks in and around Cardiff. So it's a very safe environment as a capital city to walk around, lots of shopping centers and easy access from London or Heathrow. It's only about 2.5 hours. Secondly, our campus in Cambridge, equally so. We have 800 years of academic history in Cambridge. The little shopping boutique centers. There's the River Cam, as you can see. I was on there in December. It was bitterly cold, but my wife insisted that she wanted to go on this river, so we used a blanket. But it was still very, very nice. And you have your own private boarding room, house, and room and bathroom ensuite. So I just want to go through some students. This is a student from Thailand, Mind, Sithani. So she wanted to do chemical engineering. She had 4 A stars and we ended up going to Imperial College. Then we also have another student from Thailand, was Rexina, also wanted to do engineering, and she went to Cambridge. Ziki was from Singapore, and she did medicine, wanted to go to Cambridge University for medicine. She had 5 A stars and currently studying for a doctor there. Sean was doing law, and then we have Jonas Lee from Hong Kong, who is doing medicine. He decided to go back to Hong Kong Uni to go and do medicine. Okay, so that is the school then in a nutshell. I don't know, are there any questions, Belle, or is there anything specific? I know, you will have some students who are going to ask perhaps about our summer camp division, which we do have. We have a summer camp division, and the summer camp division have specific courses for medicine students, bespoke ones. They are in and around the Oxford area, Eddington, Eton, very, very nice accommodation. And this is specifically for students who want to do medicine. It's the SBD division that we have as part of Dukes has been nominated as the top summer camp division in the UK. So there are really top class accommodation. But of course, these specific courses will be arranged by the staff at Edie Smith, and Belle will be able to tell you guys more about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Thank you so much, Tony. It's a great insight into the school. Actually, I have received some questions from the parents. Should we go over them now?
Sure, we can. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So, can you talk about the scholarships that the school offer, particularly for international students?
Yes, of course. Being a top school or the #1 school in UK, we do attract the best students from around the world. So we do have scholarships. The scholarships are for our A-level students. If you want to apply for a scholarship, the student will do the normal application, which is online through you guys. You will help them with getting the reports and copies of passport, etc. But they do a scholarship entrance exam. That's done at your center, at your offices here in Bangkok.
Yeah.
The scholarship entrance exam is a little bit more difficult than our normal entrance exam, but that's then marked by our panel of teachers and professors, and based on the results, we will then award a scholarship to the students.
Oh, yeah.
We do urge them to try and do this earlier. To give you an idea, Cardiff this year in April, we were full already for this intake. So it gets, we're, as I said, all over the world. We have applications all over the world. So it gets full very quickly. If you want to apply for a scholarship, do it now in September, October. Get in early when the scholarships are available, and then you can sit back and relax.
Yeah, okay. So do you offer a scholarship up to 50%, or what's the percentage on that?
It will be between 15 and 50. So it depends on your tuition fees. It'll be for both years, provided you do well in your first year and you don't drop your grades, you will be awarded the scholarship the second year again. So yeah, that's up to 50%.
That's actually a lot. Actually, I want to share some experience while I was at Cambridge. Actually, a lot of students, my friends, they were actually from Cardiff, and that's how I got to know the school.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can, assure you right now that, it's a good school, and then a good chunk of my friends were actually from this school. So yeah, I think that speaks to highly about the school. Oh, actually, we have one more. Students were coming in, so let me admit her right now. Okay, actually, let's move to another question. What would you say is the most important factor for the medical school application?
Well, first of all, you have to have good grades. If you're going to go to medical school, they're going to require good grades from maths, chemistry, biology, and if you're going to be something in surgery, obviously physics. But you can start off with 4 subjects. In lots of cases, students drop 1 subject for the second year and only have 3. But you have a better chance if you do the 4 subjects and do well. The requirements are a very positive, pleasant attitude. It's not necessarily the top academic student that becomes the top doctor. We've had students in Cardiff that were, in terms of their grades, not 5 A stars, but they're still good grades, but they weren't the top in the class. And they have become, because we've been sending students to medical school for the last 10, 11 years, they've become very successful doctors. So it's not necessarily the very top students. And that's the first thing. You have to have a positive attitude. They will look at that in your interview. A positive attitude is going to give you a lot of potential points going forward. So that's always good. But coming from Thai people, that comes naturally. You guys are all, it's a friendly nation. You are polite. you have great manners. So that should not be a problem for any Thai student, right?
Yeah. This is coming from me. I'm just wondering, in terms of portfolio, how important is that?
Well, that's what we're going to help you with. Of course, you're going to have your grades and all that. You're going to do your entrance examination with us. And then once you are in Cardiff, we then start with your entire process. So it'll include UCAS application, those master classes, your special tutoring with your career advisor. And then we build up your portfolio and we build up your things like your personal statement, etc. And we practice and prepare you with your UCAT and BMAT, which are going to be all the important things. So all the important things, interview, BMAT, UCAT, personal statement, those are the things we will concentrate on and make sure they're perfect.
Yeah, okay. One more. For a medicine applicant, when do your students start working on UCAS? When do they get their counselor? Do they, do you assign a counselor for them or?
They get their own personal career advisor. And they start, as I mentioned, already in the first year of the GCSE program. They start their UCAS application. You saw in the presentation, there are certain timelines that you have to do your UCAT and BMAT examinations and do those entrance exams. So we go according to those guidelines, but we start at a very early age. You can't leave it until the final year of your A-level. You have to start very early. If you're serious about going to medical school, that's why we start early, prepare our students, make sure that they work with that career advisor and they know exactly what they're going to be studying one day, what field of medicine, and which university is going to be the best selected for that field.
Okay, so just to add a little more information on that, for those who you're not so familiar with the UK system, what Tony is saying, that you need to prepare like maybe 3 years in advance before you apply to the uni, right?
Yeah, it's very competitive. So, and we'll help them. I mean, we've been very successful with many students, as you saw, 221 young doctors we've created. So we know how to prepare our students and help them. And it's becoming more and more competitive. So you need to have a good A game if you want to go to medical school, but we'll help, no problem.
Yeah. Okay. So I feel like actually a lot of parents underestimate the importance of, portfolio and, sending their kids to attending the boot camp, the summer school. Can you explain more about it? The importance of
that's a good
getting a credit.
Yeah,
credited.
That's a very good point, Belle, because there are many operators out there that claim to do summer camps and stuff like that. And then it's disappointing when the students get there, it's not what they expected, or they don't do bespoke things like specific medical programs, or go to that and actually show the students what is happening. So you must make sure that, first of all, you go with an accredited operation. Now, I believe you guys, Eddie Smith and EPA are accredited. You've done this for many years, and you know that with SBD, our summer camp division with the Duke's Education Group, we have had a very successful year. This summer, they were full. In fact, they were full. There were some Thai students that still wanted to come for this summer, but unfortunately, we had to turn some away because it's been so full. It's been very successful. For the last 2 years, nobody's been out, so everybody is eager to get out. So doing a summer camp with an accredited institution is point number one, will put you in good stead. That'll show you, that'll help you and make you understand. Secondly, universities will also see that on your personal statement, that you've done this and you've gone to these summer camps. So they have already this idea that you understand medicine. Thirdly is your EPQ, effective project qualification. So that's the research you're going to be doing to show the university that you understand the field of medicine that you're going to be going for. So those are the important factors.
Yeah. Okay, I got more questions. Do we need to take both UCAT and BMAT, both of them, to apply to medical schools?
There are certain schools, medical schools that only require BMAT or UCAT. So it depends on the actual university that you're going to. But in many cases, it does happen that students do both because they apply to different universities for that. For instance, veterinary school, you're only going to do one, which is the BMAT one, because that's what the requirement is. But if you're starting to look at other fields of medicine, it does change for the different universities. But the career advisor will help the student to explain to them exactly what is required and what they need to do and which ones is required and which ones are not.
Yeah, that's very clear. Thank you. One more. Does Cardiff accept students from IB schools? And if so, is there any difference between A-level applicants?
Yes, yes, we do. We've had lots of students from IB schools. I know there are quite a few very good schools here in Thailand who are IB schools. The difference is, of course, with IB, you're doing 7 subjects or more. And when you start off with your A-levels, you're only going to be doing 4. So you're going to concentrate on those 4: maths, chemistry, biology, and physics, or maybe economics, or whatever the case is. So we can do that. We have converted many students. There's some really, really good IB schools, so that's not a problem at all. Universities in the UK, they do look at A-level students probably a little bit more favorable because you're concentrating on those 4 medical subjects, where IB is a little bit more broader. So, lots of American universities do like IB schools, but there are, of course, also UK universities that you can apply with IB. So, but if you want to be a more focused approach, the 4 subjects for A-level would be A-level, 4 subjects in medicine, which would probably be a little bit more focused.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. But then, if you want to switch tracks, when would be a good time? I mean, like, students coming from IB switching to GCSE or, A-level, when would you suggest that they?
We've had cases, we've had them in both instances, but, if you're looking to do, you're not familiar with A-levels, it is probably sometimes better if you can start earlier with your GCSE years. You can either do a 1-year GCSE and then get accustomed and then go on to your A-levels, which lots of them do, or you can actually do your 2-year A-levels directly after from IB. So it just depends. Lots of students are ready at certain different times in their lives. We'll find out when we do the interview or when they do the entrance exams. We will know exactly.
Okay, I think we'll accept only a couple more questions before we end this webinar today. Let me go over the questions that we have already received. There are only a couple more.
Yeah, sure.
When it comes to getting into medical school, is there a quota for international students?
Yes, there is. There is a quota for international students. Of course, there's the local students would also have a quota, but all universities are obliged to look at a percentage of students being international. So they have a quota, but again, that's why they will take the best. So it's important that our approach to these universities, particularly the top ones, are good. We have a good personal statement for the student. We have prepared them well for their entrance exams, and we have prepared them well in terms of their portfolio, their work experience, and all that. So those things combined will give them a great chance to be part of that quota. So yeah, there is always quotas in these instances, but the universities do enjoy having Thai students or students from Asia. So I think it shouldn't be a problem for the majority, but they need to be well prepared.
Okay, I think we would end the session by, can you tell us about your experience, helping the Thai students transitioning back to Thailand, applying to a medical school here in Thailand? Was that a problem for you? How did you
not at all
do it?
Not at all. In fact, it was, as I said, the student, both of her parents are very famous doctors here in Thailand. So who were certainly well connected with the hospitals here. So it was definitely not a problem for her to get an offer with a Thai hospital here, number one. Number two, it's the preference of the student where they want to study, where they're going to feel comfortable. this particular student had offers from UCL and King's. Those are top universities, and she turned them down. So it shows you, it depends. And the same with the student I showed you from Hong Kong. Earlier on, we had the five A stars. He went back to Hong Kong Uni. He had an offer from two offers. He had an offer from Exeter, and he also had an offer from Nottingham, and another. In fact, he had 3 offers from UK universities, and he still wanted to go back to Hong Kong Uni. The reason for that is then he didn't have to do the board exam to enter back into Hong Kong to then practice there, because if he does it in Hong Kong Uni, he doesn't have to do the board exam because he's already there. So it makes a lot of difference. Now, the Thai government, you have your own board examinations and stuff that have to be done here by students when they come and practice back after they have received their degrees. So it just depends on the particular student and what their preference is. We'll help them in terms of which university they want to go to. There are different ways and there are different approaches. Of course, if they want to go to USA universities, it's a whole different process. It's not UCAS. You have to apply individually. There's SATs, there's essays. Australia is very different. So it depends on the student, but we have all of the know-how and the panels and the staff that will help them.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Tony, for today. I think this is such an insightful session. And also, actually, thank you everyone for joining our session. For those who are interested in joining Cardiff or preparing medical school portfolio, do not hesitate to reach out to us. Actually, let me share the screen so you know where to find us. Okay. You can also find the contact information in the chat box below. So please check them out. We can put you in touch with Tony if you have any more questions about Cardiff or medical school in the UK. And I hope everyone finds the presentation helpful. I wish you all the best in the admissions journey. And see you again soon.
Thank you very much, and good night, everybody in Thailand. Thank you, Belle.
Thank you, Tony.